Hey folks, it's Wendy. Thought I'd give you an idea of what it takes to make some coasters. So sitting here with my ottoman, I'm going to do 2 boxes of coasters at a time. So I order these from Home Depot. They're actually not being carried by Home Depot anymore. I'm going to have to find another way to get them. But in the meantime, these are simple ceramic coasters. You can see they have a little bit of a texture on it, not a big deal. There's 30 in a box. I'm going to prep 2 boxes at a time, and I'll walk you through what I have to do for them. Step 1, remove all the stickers from the back. So now what I'm going to do is tape off the back, and I'll put 3 pieces of tape across the back like this. Come on. There we go. So now it looks like this. And I'm going to do that to all 60 of them. And then I'll cut the edges off. So now that they're all taped up, all 60 of them, I'm going to take a pair of scissors and trim off the edges so they're all nice and clean. And they'll wind up looking like, I think I got one down here done. They'll look like this. All ready to go and ready to paint. Or there's a couple more steps yet. So now that I've got them up into my studio, I'm going to set them all up to be ready for painting. I have these little condiment cups that I use to tape on the back of each one, which will elevate them just a little bit so that paint can drip off and the resin can drip off as well. So I use a little piece of tape on each one. Just roll it up. Put it in the center. And it's all set and ready to be painted. So I'm going to do this whole tray. Okay, so now that I've got a tray of them all set up, there's a whole tray right here. It's now time to do the fun part, which is painting them. So I have it set up. I have one of them set up here on a Lazy Susan so that I can do a number of different things with it. There's the little cup. Usually I use that mostly to make sure that I've got everything on every corner. But we're going to see what we can make out of this today. My goal today is to try and make a little sunflower with a bit of a swipe. So I've got my swiping tools here. I'll probably use a fairly thin one. Like this one is that one's a good size right there. That'll make a nice sunflower. I got some gold yellow here, some, let's see, azo yellow, gold yellow, azo yellow medium. And I'm probably going to need a little bit of, where is it? I thought I had some Van Dyke Brown, but I guess I can use some raw umber for the middle. And of course a little bit of gold. Gold, gold, gold. Where's my gold? Here's my gold. Okay. So first things first, put a little bit of a base down. A white base down here. This is my mix with Floetrol. I don't want too much because I'm going to be swiping this. So I'm just going to go like this with it. So I'm sure you've all seen me using the torch to get the bubbles out, but not sure you can see it as closely as you can here. Watch. Gets the bubbles right out, and what doesn't pop turns out to be a piece of junk. It is a piece of dried up paint. Just no problem. All right, so I think what I'm going to try and do first is a little bit of this yellow. This is the Azo Yellow Medium. All of these are Amsterdam colors, by the way. And I thought maybe I would do, let's see here. And then I'll do another one in the middle of that. Okay, now I want to get my slightly smaller one. And I'm going to put some gold in the middle of it. Very cute. And there we've got a little yellow flower. And I will do a few more of those. And then once all this paint kind of blends together, I'll do a couple of dips. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Okay, so what I've done now is I've just poured some paint into the middle. It's the same colors, I just added some orange. And all I'm doing is just throwing it all together in the middle. And then I'm going to take one of my coasters and just plop it down and pull it up. And you get some really amazing looks. Once we hit it with a torch, make sure it's got all the sides here. Cells are going to pop up like crazy. Really cool looking. And you get something slightly different every time. Oh, look at that. That one came out really cool. And I do this with a lot of different colors. Actually, what I like to do is when I've done a painting and I've got my table full of colors, I'll come back in with some coasters that I've had set up and make some of those from the leftover paint. Eventually they get too muddy to make it a pretty result. And then I'll scrape them off into a bucket, mix it all up, and I wind up with a pretty color I can use next time. Let's see what else I can get out of this here. That'll be interesting. Yeah, see, it's starting to get a little too muddy. So you look at this, this is the last one. This is the first one I did. This is the last one I did. Now, it's still very pretty, but I have to, I think I'm done because they're getting too muddy. So, next step, let them dry, and then I put some heat-safe resin on them, and I will show you how I do that. So in this section, I'm brushing off the top of the coasters to get any dust off of it. Now I'm going to mix up the resin. And I'm voicing over this because I'm wearing a mask, which is really the best when you're working with this kind of heat-safe resin. You'll see a picture of me with the mask on in just a second. But it takes, there we go. It takes about 3 minutes to mix up the resin completely. Then I pour it on each one a little bit, and I usually leave the last one in case I have extra from the other coasters. So I'm making sure it gets all the way around it, each of the coasters. And if any of them, it's actually kind of convenient if they're stuck to the paper because then they don't move, unlike that one. That one wasn't stuck. So now I can use what drips off of it onto that one coaster. So I can make the resin, you know, last a little bit longer. All right, now that I've got all the resin over these coasters, I wipe my hands down as best I can. I've got some paper towel wrapped around my torch, and now I'm getting rid of all the bubbles off the top. And then I use my tweezers to get any dust off of them. I turn the tray all over the place. I'm actually sitting down almost level with these at this point, so I can see if there's any bubbles that haven't popped or any dust that I need to pull off. And now they're ready to sit for 3 days. So now that they're all cured, I take them off. I'm just going to do a couple here so I can show you what I do. Take off the tape. Here. So they came out great. And I'm going to use my knife, dangerously, to score along all of the edges. Now it would be nice if I could just peel this off, but it never happens. Now I have these self-sticky cork backs that have my stamp on them. Actually, before I do that, these tend to have a sharp edge, so all I do is real quick one swipe on each edge, and they're much better. Wipe it off a little bit on the towel. This is just a foam sanding block. And then I take the stick that right on the back. And now you have your completed coaster with my little stamp on the back and everything. All set, ready to go. So I have a whole bunch of those I need to do. When I'm done with each one, I clean up the tray. Just pull that off, save that for the next time. And I use this parchment paper. I use this parchment paper underneath because the resin just comes right off of it. And I can use it again and again until, of course, it rips. But it's very easy to clean up. So I'll clean all that up, and then I'll set up another set to do more coasters later. So with that having been said, I charged $10 each, 4 for $35. All of that work, and I think they came out beautiful, and I think they're worth that. Let me know what you think.